So for everyone that doesn't know, Rise of Skywalker is the 9th film in a tiny little independent film series that you might not have heard of called Star Wars. And this is the last film of the Skywalker saga, which are the movies that follow the Skywalker family, like Luke, Leia, Anakin, and Kylo Ren. And geez, that's 9 movies. That's 9 movies spanning 42 years. And it's crazy that only 2 of them are good. I'm kidding. I'm not gonna lie, I have a huge soft spot for the prequels. I mean, legitimately, my brother and I watched episodes 1 and 3 while we were in Paris, and it was the most fun I've had in a long time. Legitimately give those movies a try and just don't take them too seriously, just have fun and enjoy watching them with friends. But the most interesting thing to me about The Rise of Skywalker isn't any of the twists and turns and reveals that happen in the film, though there's a lot of crazy stuff that happens. But I'm more interested in how those moments are packaged, how the viewers presented the events, how the film wafts over you and flows through you like the Force, and how it... The editing. I'm talking about the editing. Or what Alfred Hitchcock would call the art of montage. Montage is the alignment of different camera angles and images to convey a message to the viewer. And montage can be used in a lot of interesting ways, such as the Kuleshov effect, which we talked about in our Baby Yoda video. Please go check that out if you haven't. Look at that face. Look how cute he is. He wants you to click on that video. He wants you to enjoy what the Kuleshov effect is and why Baby Yoda is such a good meme lord and all of that stuff. Okay, anyway. Star Wars has been known for its skillful editing since the first film in 1977. Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, was actually saved in the edit. George Lucas had actually made a version of the film that he showed to some of his friends like Steven Spielberg, Ryan De Palma, and Marsha Lucas, amongst others, and they hated it. They hated it so much. I mean, there were elements that they liked, but overall, they didn't enjoy the actual movie-going experience. So what they ended up doing was pitching in and reworking the film to make it the well-timed masterpiece that it is today. So much so that Marsha Lucas, George Lucas's then wife, won an Oscar for her editing of A New Hope. That's really saying something, since George Lucas has never won an Oscar, even though he made one of the biggest franchises of all time. It's like you're on the Jedi Council but never given the rank of Master, huh, George? That's for all of you on Reddit r/prequel memes, you know who you are. But anyway, for more on this, please check out Rocket Jump Film School's video on how Star Wars was saved in the edit. They go into great detail on the whole team effort that created the final edit of A New Hope. So since Star Wars was polished till it shined like some fresh Beskar, it's only natural that they would recycle some elements from the original film. The biggest thing being the pacing. But what is pacing? Well, pacing is how the editing and progression of the plot work together to create a forward momentum for a film. This is how quickly the film moves from story beat to story beat to keep the audience engaged. And A New Hope almost perfected this pacing. Events are laid out where increasingly intense moments are followed by calm sections for the audience to breathe. Let me show you what I mean. So this chart from Gama Sutra lays out the major story beats in A New Hope and how they not only progress the plot, but keep the story rising in interest until the very end. The moments keep getting more and more intense until they finally climax with Luke's trench run and the destruction of the Death Star. And this is such a good chart that they kept using it for the other Star Wars movies. Seriously, most Star Wars movies fit this pacing chart to a T, and therefore they feel like they have this great forward momentum carrying the characters and the plot, even if the characters and the plot aren't that interesting. And to me, the most notable section of this chart is the beginning. In the first 30 minutes of every Star Wars movie, there's always a big, exciting event that gets the audience interested. It's usually a battle or a fight that, when it's resolved, relieves a lot of tension and lets the major story start. In A New Hope, it was Darth Vader's capturing of Princess Leia. In Empire Strikes Back, it's the Battle of Hoth. In The Return of the Jedi, it's Jabba's palace. In The Phantom Menace, it's the fight with the droids on the starship. In Attack of the Clones, it's the assassination attempts on Padme, and in Revenge of the Sith, it's that bombastic, insane spaceship dogfight scene, and then saving Chancellor Palpatine and fighting Count Dooku, and then crash landing the ship. Man, oh my god, I didn't realize how much I love this movie. But each of these events gets your attention with a lot of action, so you're hooked from the beginning and want to stay with the movie. And they pay off that stick-to-itiveness by having a big final sequence that leaves the audience on a pulse-pounding high note before quickly finishing the film. In A New Hope, it was Luke's trench run on the Death Star. In The Empire Strikes Back, it's the fight with Vader where he's revealed to be Luke's father. In Return of the Jedi, it's the Battle of Endor and the fight with Palpatine. In The Phantom Menace, it's the battle on Naboo. In Attack of the Clones, it's all the Jedi and clones attacking Geonosis. And in Revenge of the Sith, not only is it Anakin and Obi-Wan raving so hard that they destroy a factory on Mustafar, but also Yoda and Palpatine fighting over who gets to be the meme lord of 2005. And we all know who won that battle with the "Do it" and "I am the Senate." Oh my god. Yeah, wow, I love this movie far more than I thought I did. But now we know that we need a big initial event to get the audience interested, and a few events to elevate the plot until the ultimate climactic moment at the end. And here's where Rise of Skywalker comes in. Based on my extensive research, The Rise of Skywalker doesn't use this pacing chart, and in my opinion, the film really suffers for it. Legitimately, when I was watching the movie, I felt this crazy whiplash of all the events going on. And that's a product of the fact that this film was unfortunately given the huge task of tying together 9 movies worth of plot. And therefore, it feels like they tried to smush like 2 whole movies worth of content into one film. And this isn't just me being a whiny fanboy, even though I super am. I saw the movie twice and literally plotted out the whole movie. I mean, I went full Charlie Day on this thing and did way too much research for this silly video right before Christmas. Oh my god, I'm such a dingus. I mean, seriously, look at this spreadsheet. When I saw the movie for a second time, I wrote down every single story beat that happened, when they happened, and then rated the intensity of those moments. I mean, I nearly got kicked out twice for writing down notes in the movie, but it was all worth it for this sweet, sweet data. I mean, look at this thing. I'm so proud of this silly spreadsheet about Star Wars of all things. But what I found was honestly really surprising to me. There's either a new reveal or a big character moment every minute of this movie. That's right, every minute. For context, A New Hope had a new story beat every 3 to 4 minutes. And the few times that Rise of Skywalker has moments that last to 2 to 4 minutes are usually fight scenes. This really left the pacing of the movie with little to no time to breathe. The movie does have an upward progression like our good pacing diagram, but there are these tiny tugs of war that ruin the overall pace. I mean, seriously, I felt so exhausted after I watched this movie for the first time that I had to take a second and reevaluate the entire film. So let's take a look at an example of how this deviates from the regular pacing diagram. Instead of one big event to start off the movie, we have 4 separate events spanning 6 locations. In the same amount of time that Return of the Jedi did the whole Jabba's palace sequence, we go to 4 different places and do 6 different things. And that's not to say that the moments aren't entertaining. This movie has some really interesting story beats, but they're mostly undercut by feverish editing to keep this gravy train rolling so we can pack all this information into 133 minutes. But honestly, why would they edit the movie like this? Well, in my opinion, it actually has to do with how movies are approved and made. The Rise of Skywalker is the last of 9 movies, so they needed to make sure that it was a slam dunk powerhouse. And a lot of movies actually get approved and made because their scripts are fun to read and the producers enjoy reading them. And by the way, fun fact, if you didn't know, every 1 page of a script usually translates to 1 minute of movie time. So Rise of Skywalker was 133 minutes long, so its script was probably also 133 pages. And to keep those 133 pages fresh and interesting, they put a new reveal or an event on each page, and therefore the script reader would be more likely to keep reading and stay invested and interested. And honestly, this isn't necessarily a bad thing if the dang movie just stayed in a couple places longer. I mean, they're globe-trotting all over the place, and the scenes barely have any time to breathe. Legitimately, this movie takes place in 10 different locations. I even made another chart. Look at this chart. And this isn't even including smaller locations in those big locations. See, here's another chart with a breakdown of the other sub-locations. And hey, let's do a quick experiment. Guess how many locations they went to in A New Hope? Did you guess 6? Because legitimately, it's 6. They go to Leia's ship, Luke's home, the Mos Eisley Cantina, the Millennium Falcon, the Death Star, and the Rebel base. And we have plenty of time on all those places, more time on certain ones than others, like Luke's home, the Death Star, and the Millennium Falcon for a couple scenes. But in The Rise of Skywalker, we have an average of 8 minutes per location. That's really not that much time, especially when something new is happening every minute at those locations. And this rushing from place to place reduces the severity of some important moments, makes the whole film feel like a roller coaster that just won't stop, and you get motion sick and you just feel like so much is happening all at once. And all of this to say that I think that the movie really could have benefited from a longer runtime. I know that 3 hours might be too long, but those extra 40 some odd minutes could have really benefited the movie by giving the plot time to breathe and for us to take in a lot of the interesting moments that are happening on screen. As a film editor, those are my major issues with The Rise of Skywalker. I mean, I was so passionate about this that I made this whole spreadsheet and everything, so if you've seen the movie and want to check out my work, there's a link in the description for my whole breakdown spreadsheet.